Yeah, so when we talk about dimensions, right, are we talking about the person as a multi-dimensional being, or are we talking about the container, right? So when I say the container, I mean like when people say a dimension, you this is the third dimension. They usually look at the planet, they look at this existence, they look at this plane as the dimension and don't think too much about the people, right? As if the plane is what is providing the capability to the people, or that the plane or the density is what's in control. But my question is it the people, multidimensional people, or is it the container, which is the plane? And what I do know is that, and what I'm realizing, which I already knew, but what I realize now more than ever is that this is a world of duality. You know, white or black. That's the struggle. Is it up or down? Is it right or left? Zeros and ones. Him and her. It's a world that's dual, that's of choice, like they say. The Christians say God gave you a choice. That's duality, right? And anything outside of that, to me, is because if you're just dealing with duality, you're dealing with a person that's two-dimensional, right? And I think what they did was also, within that duality, you have one-dimensional, to where you're a one-dimensional person living in a world of duality, right? And some people are not a person of duality. They can't make a choice. They're just one-dimensional, right? They only think of themselves. They can only think of themselves. They can't go outside of that. Some people can't even exist, and some people don't exist very well a in a in duality. Other than making that one choice. Their version of duality is, I made a choice. I'm a Republican, right? Or I'm a Democrat, right? They can't see outside of that choice. So really they are one dimensional beings, right? Versus a two-dimensional being, if that makes sense to you. And then a person that is third dimensional means that they have a perception that's outside of choice, right? So it's like, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm outside it. I'm an independent thinker. That would be a third dimensional being. So within this world of duality, I think you have some of us who are third dimensional because we can see outside the box. We seek to be outside the box. And actually, when we do seek to be outside the box, we are kind of separated from the herd, right? There's something wrong with you when you think outside the box. There's something strange about you, right? Because you're not one dimensional, right? You're not living in a world of duality, you know? And I can continue on. You got the earth and the moon, right? What else? What else you got? As far as duality, it's just ones and twos. That's all it is. And then that's why I asked the question: is it the dimension of the being, or is it the actual container? And I think we're all in this melting pot. We're all in a container together. If you want to call it dimension, I'm just want to call it a container with beings who have different dimensions, different sides of them, different angles, who can view things from different angles. Multi, perceptional people. People who have extra perception, an extra way of perceiving things, multiple ways of perceiving things, right? And so I was just sitting here, actually just laying here, and it was just, I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was thinking about it again today about when we talk about dimensions, what is it that you actually, what is it that we mean? And I think that this is a world of duality. It's ones and twos, but within this world of duality, it's divided of one-dimensional people who can only see things, and either it's, they perceive it as left or right or up or down, or I feel this way or I feel that way. You have a choice, right? Like they said, God gave you a choice, right? Versus you not having a choice at all. So that's what I believe, and that's what I'm still working on, mentally, to try to work that out, to see what that is. But I think we have, um, first, second, and third perceptional people that are, and even fourth. There are some of us that even have, that are even able to, or starting to move forward into being four-dimensional people, which means we are able, our perception of anything is from multiple sides. It's even outside, um, of three angles, being able to see it in three angles, right? So when you're fourth dimensional, then you start to bring in other senses, other perceptions. That that fourth perception, there are certain other senses that come along with that, right? And so we're in this container together. If you want to call it a dimension, you can call it a dimension. I'll say that this is a dimension with beings with different perceptions, if you want to call that. But if we want to, but I like to say it's a container with uh, with beings within the container that have different, that are different, have different dimensions, right? And I think it's the container is just, a world of duality, because that's what I see. Analog and digital. I mean, I can just go on forever on the examples of how this world is dualistic. You know what I mean? So hopefully I didn't confuse you. I'm still breaking this down. I'm still breaking this information down as it comes in. And so that's it. I'm out. Let me get off this horn, man.